Here, page Tuf Tezayin. Tuf Tezayin. We're middle of learning a very famous letter from the Rebbe Rashab, where the Rebbe Rashab is writing to Chassid to explain what's wrong with Zionism, and what's wrong with Zionism. According to the in a Torah way, not just you can have like Fry Zionism, just go to Israel, whatever. Then there's people that they brought Gemaras, Midrashim, and here the Rebbe Rashab is specifically addressing someone that brought a mimer from the Alter Rebbe. And the Alter Rebbe says that all the Giluyim of Mashiach is going to take place. The revelation of Mashiach, the Giluyim of Mashiach, is going to be after Kibbutz Goliath. After the Yidden go to Eretz Yisrael, that's when Mashiach is going to be revealed. So this person that was bringing the Alter Rebbe's Ma'amar says, look, even though the Alter Rebbe says, when's Mashiach going to come? After the Yidden go to Eretz Yisrael. When's Mashiach going to show up? After the Yidden go to Eretz Yisrael. Which means you don't need Mashiach to take the Yidden to Eretz Yisrael. They're going to go to Eretz Yisrael on their own without Mashiach. And that's the main thing this person was bringing out, and also was trying to say, like, through going to Eretz Yisrael, that maybe makes Mashiach come. So the Rebbe Rashab explained over here, Barichus, we're towards the end of the letter. He said, first of all, he brings from the same mimer from the Alter Rebbe right next to it, where he says that when is Kibbutz Goliath going to take place? Only after we finish Avodas HaBerurim. When are we going to go to Eretz Yisrael? Begashmis, it's after us gathering all the Netzutzei Kedush of Chesed and Gvur and returning them to their source. That's when Kibbutz Goliath Begashmis is going to take place. So the Rebbe Rashab is saying, before this guy jumps and says, let's go to Eretz Yisrael without Mashiach, you need to finish Avodas HaBerurim. So you can't just skip everything and just say Kibbutz Goliath. That's number one. Number two, the Rebbe Rashab brings out that the Rambam writes clearly that who's going to make Kibbutz Goliath happen. I don't know, the Rambam brings a whole bunch of other places. That Melech HaMashiach is going to be the one that's going to be Mekabel Tzidkei Yisrael. Mashiach's job is to take them to Eretz Yisrael, and Kibbutz Goliath takes place after the Beis HaMikdash is going to be built. First, you need to have a built Beis HaMikdash, and then you can go to Eretz Yisrael. So the Rebbe Rashab is saying, you need Mashiach, you need a Beis HaMikdash, and the last thing that takes place is the Yidden going to Eretz Yisrael. Don't make a whole challenge. Don't just bring one mimer from the Alter Rebbe and just say, oh, okay, the Giluyim of Mashiach is after Kibbutz Goliath. Then the Rebbe Rashab explains, what does it mean? What did the Alter Rebbe mean by saying the Mashiach's Gilui is after Kibbutz Goliath? He says, obviously, that the person, Mashiach, is going to be here from the very beginning, and he's going to be the one that's going to take it into Eretz Yisrael, and he's going to do everything. But what's the main chiddush of Mashiach? The main chiddush of Mashiach, what he explains over here, is that he's going to reveal the levels of Keser, Chochmah, and Bina. The Avoid in Zman HaGolus is mainly shaykh to the 7 Midas. We conquered Eretz Yisrael, we conquered 7 lands, which is connected to the 7 Midas. That's the main avodah in the time of Golus. But not avodas hamoichin. Kini, Knizia, and Kadmoini, the other 3 lands that the Eibishter promised Avram Avinu in Brisbane Absalom, we did not conquer yet. And that's going to happen when Mashiach comes. And Yarchav Hashem Elokach Zgvulcha, then we're going to have Kini, Knizia, and Kadmoini. That's connected Keser, Chochmah, and Bina. Keser has in it Rotzin and Tainuk, which that's like the reasons of the Torah and mitzvahs that we do. And the main Gili of Mashiach, especially it's explained in Chassidus a lot, is this Gili of Atik, and Primis Atik, Keser, and the deepest levels of Keser and Chochmah and Bina, to reveal the Moichin. That's Avodas HaMoichin. So the Rebbe Rashab says, what does the Alter Rebbe mean? That the Mashiach should have been as Gal after Kibbutz Goliath? That means that when is the Iker Chiddush of Mashiach, the Gili of Keser, Chochmah, and Bina, going to take place? That's after Kibbutz Goliath. But obviously, the person Mashiach is going to be here from the very beginning, and he's going to be doing everything. He's going to build the Beis HaMikdash. He's going to be Mekabel Tzidkei Yisrael. This guy that brought the Alter Rebbe's Ma'amar, he wanted to say Mashiach's not going to be here, and he's going to pop and show up after Kibbutz Goliath, and he's not going to do anything till then. Mashiach's not going to be here. With Kibbutz Goliath, it's going to happen on its own. The Rebbe Rashab says, no. What's the Alter Rebbe meaning that Mashiach is revealed after Kibbutz Goliath? When is the Iker Chiddush of Mashiach going to take place? After Kibbutz Goliath. And he also explains that even Bakashmi that when could you consider his malchus, when you consider a melech, it says, Ein melech b'layam, can't be a king without a nation. So when the Eden are all over the world, how is Melech HaMashiach going to be a melech? When he's Mekabetz Nidchi Yisrael from the whole world, and he brings them everyone together, then he can be considered a melech. B'shleimus, obviously, to be on a higher level of a melech, whatever. But so that's what he's saying. Mashiach is going to be after Kibbutz Galus, which means when his Malchus is going to be complete after Kibbutz Galus. So that's still where we learned until now. Now we're going to continue inside, which this part actually that we're going to bring inside, the Rebbe quoted many times. The Rebbe Rashab explains over here. Sometimes we find in Chazal the lashon Ben David Ba, Ben David referring to Mashiach, Ben David. Sometimes we can call Mashiach David without Ben. What's the difference between Ben David and sometimes it says David? And sometimes we say Yom Ben David Ben David. There's Ben David. What's the difference? He explains over here that there's two levels in Mashiach. There is a level of Ben David, which is a lower level of Mashiach. Before he's B'Shleimus, he's Ben David, and then there's when Mashiach is on his most complete level, that's considered David. And he brings over here what the Rambam says, and the Rebbe explains this, that there's B'Cheskes Mashiach and Mashiach Vadai. There's in Mashiach itself, there's two levels. So the Rebbe Rashab says, what does it say in Chazal, or what did the Alter Rebbe write? That after Kibbutz Goliath, David is going to come. But David. Kevin Shenivenis Yerushalayim, but David. Once Yerushalayim is built and Kibbutz goes, David is going to come. David is going to come. But you need to have Ben David before that. So Ben David is going to...
The same person is going to be on a lower level?
Exactly.
Exactly.
So right. So this side it says he's going to show up later, that's the higher level he's going to show up.
But it has to be the same person.
Yeah, but that person is going to be here from the very beginning. So you need, like, don't bring from their source that Mashiach is not going to be. He is going to be, but he's going to be on a lower level. So that's what the Rebbe Rashab is going to explain. And the Rebbe mentioned this many times. And this piece, the Rebbe brings in letters and sichas. Okay, but we're up to the last paragraph, page Tov Tezayin on the right column. Right column, Amud Tov Tezayin. It says in Yerushalmi, the Tanai, there was a Tanai, Sheibana Beis HaMikdash. It's speaking about over there, about certain Maisres, where do you need to take it? So in the time of Golus, they took a Maiser in a certain way, and they made a Tanai, till when is this Tanai going to be? Till Binyan Beis HaMikdash. So there over there, Yerushalmi says, they say, Meres, Shabeis HaMikdash, Osivli, Bones, Koidim LaMalchas Beis David. This is coming to say that the Beis HaMikdash is going to be built before Malchas Beis David. Aber Gemara, Megillah Daf Yitzayin Amud Beis Isa Gamkein. The Kevin Shenivenis Yerushalayim Ba David. In Megillah it says the same lashon. It says once Yerushalayim is built, David is going to come. So from Yerushalmi and from Masechus Megillah, it says Yerushalayim is going to be built first, and then David is going to show up. And this is actually one of the Gemaras that the Zionists proof. They say, look, Mashiach is going to come later, after Yerushalayim is built. So the Rebbe Rashab is explaining this. Vayin Mashakosov Al-Bach, Ayda Chaim Simen Kuf Yud Ches, Be'inin Birkas Yerushalayim. So before Barichus, the Bach is explaining the bracha. He said, "Yerushalayim, Mircha Barach Vim Toshuv." Leibshon should return to Yerushalayim. This is Kel Masech Kasha de Barto. Then we also say, "V'chisei David Avdachah Beheda B'Seich Hatachim." The cheer of David HaMelech, you should also prepare, which the cheer over here means is referring to Malchus, the kingdom. In Chazal, there's many terms for kingdom. There's Neid, Arachti Neid U'Lemishichi, we say in Tehillim. Neid also means Malchus. The Kisei David doesn't mean literally a chair. It means the Malchus. Ein Hashem Shalom, Ein HaKisei Shalom, the Kisei in Chazal is referred to kingdom. So it says the Eibishter should prepare and build Yerushalayim speedily. So there the Bach asks on not Nusach the way the different Nusach, I think Nusach Ashkenaz, it says So he asks, there's a klal in Chazal that Me'ein Achsima needs to be Samach Lachasima. The end of the bracha, the towards the Baruch Atah Hashem needs to be like the end. So here what are you saying? David Avdecha Me'ein B'Seicha Tochen. Chitzei David. And then you're saying Baruch Atah Hashem B'nei Yerushalayim, which is the Chayr of the Beis HaMikdash. So how is this? How can you should? According to our nusach, we say Uvnei Oisa B'Karav Be'ameinu B'Nei Elam build Yerushalayim, build the Beis HaMikdash. Then the end of Baruch Atah Hashem B'nei Yerushalayim is understood, but by the way it's in the other nusach, it doesn't fit. So basically, the Bach explains that it's not a question of B'chlal, and he says that there is a klal and a prat. The klal is that the Eibishter should rest in Yerushalayim. And in Yerushalayim itself, there's the Beis HaMikdash and there's the Beis David, the Malchus David, and the Malchus David is a part of the Eibishter resting in Yerushalayim. When he explains over there, when we ask for the Eibishter to rest in Yerushalayim and he should build Malchus Beis David, we're not asking it for ourselves. It's not like two separate things. There's the Eibishter should rest in Yerushalayim, that's one thing, and we should get Malchus Beis David. No. The whole point of Malchus Beis David is to reveal the Eibishter's Malchus in the world. This is what the Bach says. So therefore, when we say bring Malchus Beis David in Yerushalayim and B'nai Yerushalayim, it's the same thing. It's all the same nekuda, the same idea. The Eibishter should rest in Yerushalayim. So over there, the Bach writes, everything needs to be prepared koidem. You need to have the Beis HaMikdash, you need to have Malchus Beis David in Yerushalayim, and then the Eibishter Karesh B'Shleimus in Yerushalayim. Once you have Sai the Beis HaMikdash and Sai Malchus Beis David. So then it says, after the Eibishter is going to build the Beis HaMikdash and Yerushalayim and the whole city of Yerushalayim, and in Yerushalayim have the Kisei David, the house of David HaMelech, the Malchus Beis David. All of these things are going to be complete. Oz ba David. That's when David is going to come. The Yeshev Al Kisoi, and David is going to come and sit on his chair. Sheheichem lo Hashem Yisbarach. That the Eibishter prepared for him. So, what do we see seemingly from here, from this Bach also? L'choida, but the Rebbe Rashab is bringing three places that L'choida looks like after the Yerushalayim is going to be built. Only then David is going to come. So he's going to explain this right now. Like we started explaining about Peh. All of this is not a stated to what the Rambam writes. Shekosav the Mashiach even as Beis HaMikdash. The Rambam writes that Mashiach is going to build the Beis HaMikdash. Which means he's going to come before. He's not going to, according to all these sources, it sounds like Mashiach is going to show up after the Yerushalayim is built, after the Beis HaMikdash is built, after the Eibishter prepares a place for Mashiach in Yerushalayim, and only then Mashiach is going to come. So he says no, which seems Mashiach is going to come late. He says it's not instead at all to what the Rambam writes that Mashiach is going to be before everything, and he's going to build the Beis HaMikdash. It's a certain thing that the coming of Mashiach is going to be before Yerushalayim is going to be built, or bin in Beis HaMikdash, and before the Beis HaMikdash is going to be built. And it's a certain thing that who's going to, not only Mashiach is going to show up before, but he's going to do everything else. He's going to be the one that's going to build Yerushalayim and the Beis HaMikdash and everything. And through him is going to be done Kibbutz Galis. And after all of this, after that he will do all of this, only then is when he will be considered the king B'Shleimus. That's when he's going to have his Malchus. Malchus David. And that's called Malchus David. Not Malchus Beis David or Ben David, but Malchus David. This is what the Gemara is Madaik to say. The Kavan Shenivanis Yerushalayim Ba David. The Gemara says after Yerushalayim is going to be built, Ba David, the David is going to show up. Ben David. The Gemara doesn't say after Yerushalayim is going to be built, Ben David is going to come. No, he says who's going to come? David is going to come. So he explains that Mashiach Nikra Bekama Mekemis V'Shem David, B'Medre Shraba V'Gemara. Mashiach in a couple of places is called with a name, with the term Ben David in Medrash and Gemara. V'Amar Khan Bar David. Over here, the Gemara doesn't say Ben David, the Gemara says David. Hakavon al Malchusei. The meaning over here when it says David himself, this is when the kingdom of Mashiach is going to show up. Not only the person Mashiach is going to come, but the shleimus of his malchus is going to come. David Melech Aleim. It says in the Cheskel, Va'avdi David Melech Aleim. So the V'ayin Shamba Mitzudis, the Mitzudis explains who's this David. This is referring to Melech HaMashiach, and he calls Melech HaMashiach with the name David. And the diuk over here is also Melech Aleim, when he's going to be a Melech over the Yidden, when he says Mal the Shleimus and the Malchus of Mashiach is called in a term of David. V'karev hadavar leimar sha'ozi toisef ma'ila bei atzmei. Or moving the mask al pi mashin is bad, and it's karev hadavar to say, and like the Rebbe actually says, though, if a Rebbe says Ula yishleim b'derech efsher, by a chassid it's a davar. The Rebbe says in the Ma'am Drushi Chasana that the Rebbe Rashab once chazed over a mimer in front of the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he said, Ula yishleimer b'derech efsher. So then the Frierdiker Rebbe went to his shver, and he asked him, Nu yav any chassidus to say? He said, use the term, open up the faucet, and it's already going to start to flow. So the Frierdiker Rebbe said over the mimer that he heard from his father, from the Rebbe Rashab, but he didn't use the term, Ula yishleimer b'derech efsher. When he came back to Lubavitch, the Rebbe Rashab asked the Frierdiker Rebbe what happened. So he told him that how he chazed over the man, but he didn't say, so the Rebbe Rashab asked him, where are you getting this source? I said, B'derech efsher, and you're saying it for sure. So I said, was by the Rebbe, by the Rebbe, by Yid, it's B'derech efsher, by Miris HaVadai. What's by a Rebbe in a way of maybe, for me it's a double Vadai. So here the Rebbe Rashab says, it's close to say, it's very possible to say it. So here it's not only Uday Shlemer, the Rebbe Rashab is saying it in a more certain way for sure. We should say that in Mashiach himself, he will be elevated to a higher level, to even be maybe even like a newer person, after he builds the Beis HaMikdash and he builds Yerushalayim and he does Kibbutz Golis. He will be on a higher level. That's why you use the term, it gives him like a new name, David, not Ben David. Now the Rebbe Rashab, now let's continue here. Now this guy's gonna come and say, I don't know any pilpulim, don't give me all these deep stuff. Lavarer or lalaben advarim, to clarify, to make white, which means to clarify something clearly. Like I'm going to touch it simply. Says the Rebbe Rashab, if so don't touch the Rebbe. Alter Rebbe's my mother. If you don't want to go learn it deep and to really understand what he's saying, so don't use it halfway to bring up half a source. He should not hang up his bad cup. Harayim usually means like a friend, but the Rebbe Rashab puts over there that attached with Shaloshin Roim, his bad cup, and hang it on, like take his garbage.
He's making that it's Kaisurayim, but really it's Kaisurayim.
Yeah.
Like I'm a student of the Alter Rebbe.
Right, and what is he doing? He's mixing his the Rebbe Rashab is going to use a very sharp lashon later on. Maybe it's even in this paragraph. But basically, as the next paragraph, he writes, he says it's like a guy that takes his what he makes, his gdolim, and he smears it all over the Kodesh HaKadoshim. He says that's what it is. If a guy is going to take the Alter Rebbe's Maimorim and use it out, the Taich Ois, as a source for Zionism or something like this. The Maral me Prague, and here he's bringing another Indian, that the Maral is Meidich. When will the Yidden be gathered together? That's only when Mashiach Tzidkenu comes. Before Mashiach Tzidkenu comes, the Yidden need to be spread out and separated in all the lines where they're spread out around the whole world. Until the Eibishter will decide that it's the time to gather them together and make them one. And in the lands where they're spread around the whole world, where they should stay there, they need to strengthen in being connected to the Eibishter and the Eibishter's holy Torah. And the Maharal explained this in a very deep way, in a very broad way. And he says, for a Goyen and a tzaddik like the Maharal, he explained it in a very deep and length that in the time of Golus, the Yidden need to be spread out the whole. There's no Indian for the Yidden to gather together and just go to Eretz Yisrael. It's not the avoid in the time of Golus. Till Mashiach comes, the Yidden need to be spread out the whole world and do Torah and mitzvahs, not in Eretz Yisrael, spread around the world. And then when the Eibishter decides, then all the Eden will be gathered together and go to Eretz Yisrael. Which means he's saying over here a whole nother nekudah, which he didn't say until now. Until now he was emphasizing Mashiach is going to be Makabit Yisrael, etc., etc. Okay, so what's if a guy's going to say, okay, I'm not the Mashiach, and I'm not going to say that this is a beginning of the Geula, and I'm not saying this is Kibbutz Golis, but let's just go to Eretz Yisrael for the idea of, this is our land, A guy is not connecting it to say this is a Chal to the Gul or anything like that. Here the Rebbe Rashab is bringing from the Maharal that no, it's not an Indian. Very interesting what this is the Maharal says. It's not an Indian to make Aliyah, like to make all the Indian just stop going to Eretz Yisrael and living there, because the avoid in time of Golus is to be spread out the whole world and over there to serve the Eibishter. And the Rebbe Rashab continues, and what they're deciding, what they decided to gather together all the Yidden on their own, with their own koyach, just without Mashiach, without the Gula, without anything, with all their strength and with all their many ideas and all their tricks that they're trying to make it happen, and all their efforts, they will not be successful to go against the Eibishter's desire. He's talking just like a person could change his clothes every day, whatever, so too their idea will be changed, and all their eitzes, all their ideas and all their advices, whatever, won't be successful, and the Eibishter's idea will be which the Eibishter's idea is going to be through Mashiach. That's going to be what's going to happen. The Eibishter himself will be the one to gather us together from the four corners of the world, to one place, and everyone's going to be one nation. Someone that reveals a whole new explanation in Torah that's not according to halacha, which means the halacha is that Mashiach is going to do it and it's going to be through Mashiach. He's going to be the one to do it after the binyan of Beis Hamikdash, etc. Or so a guy that learns otherwise, or or bedach pnimis HaTorah befrat, a guy that tries to bring the source from Torah in general for Zionism, especially from Chassidus, or kamayim mitzalim b'heichel. It's just like putting a getchka avodah zarah in the heichel of the Beis Hamikdash. Or kaish, this is a lashon of the pasuk, or kaish asher hishritz tzachanose beveis kodshei hakadoshim. It's like a guy that makes the Kodesh HaKadoshim like a toilet, like a bathroom, and he makes over there and he smears all this garbage all over the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Lo yev Hashem slechle, the Eibishter will not forgive such a person. Hashem Yisbarach b'nei v'racham of Yosef Machenu b'nei Yisrael ha'rayon ha'odur hazeh. The Eibishter with his great mercy should take away this cursed idea, v'yitein b'libam loshuv elav b'emes, and he shall put in their hearts to return to him truthfully,